if you're watching this, this is the first lounge that I've ever done here. First episode. I'm having on Lucky Witherspoon. He is a musician. He is a father. He is going to talk about his sacrifices that he made for his kids, including one that you probably know very well, Ahkello Witherspoon, whose jersey sits behind me. He's in the NFL playing for the LA Rams. What you might not know is the journey that led Lucky down the road of life. His father, Jimmy Witherspoon, is a very famous musician, and he also followed path in being a musician. He's going to talk about all that. He's got some great stories. I hope you guys enjoy Lucky Witherspoon in episode 1 of hopefully many for the lounge. All right, you're in the lounge with me.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
Jake ELLENBOGEN, and I got my buddy here, Lucky Witherspoon, who is actually making history with the lounge because this is the first time you guys seen the show, and Lucky's the first guest. So,
Wow.
musician, knower of ball. You got a lot of, your bloodline is awesome, and you have a son that's doing a kick-ass job in the NFL. Lucky Witherspoon, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How you doing, Jake?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk with you. I mean, obviously, we've spoken a lot, but, a lot of this is being shared out to my audience and everything, and you're the first guest, so I guess I'll just get started here and ask you, how the hell did you become Lucky Witherspoon? How did, what is your story, man?
Man, if you want to go back to the beginning, man, it's a little simple, man. When my mother went into labor, my dad had told her, do not call an ambulance. Call your brother. Do not call an ambulance. We can't afford the $25 or so, whatever it cost at the time. And so she called her brother to come across town from Compton over to LA. And he took my mother to the hospital and when she was in labor. And while he was driving her over, he said, "Where's Spoon at? Where's Spoon?" That's my dad's nickname. And she said, "He's at rehearsal. He's at rehearsal for the Lucky Show." And at that time, some television variety shows were sponsored by certain things. This one was sponsored by Lucky Lager Beer, and the rest is history. And that's how I got the name Lucky.
I love it. And I love the name. And it's just you, man. It's just you, I don't know. There's
It's the only
something.
one I got, Jay.
It's just bright. Like it's a vibrant name. It makes me feel like, oh, this dude's a good guy. Like his name is Lucky. Like but yeah, man. I mean, we've talked about, your time, in high school, dominating, at the football level. Just take us through it. I mean, take my audience through it. How did that whole thing go, and why were you such an animal?
Well, thanks, man. But first of all, born in LA, and all my family's out there, and some of them are dealing with the fires right now. So we want to make sure to acknowledge that. We do not think that this is above what life is going, what they're going through in life in LA right now.
Absolutely.
But born there, raised there, and doing some of the stuff there that can be not so good for you. My mother and father decided to get me out of that area, moving to Northern California. And once I came to Northern California, I had to make some changes from more of a street life in my mind. And one of the things that helped me were friends of mine who were playing sports, and girls like sports. So decided to play sports instead of do some of the street stuff that I've been accustomed to. And meanwhile, just like my son's career, I just grew so fast, from 5'7", 165 pounds my junior year to 6'2", 215. And that's a pretty big athlete, and switched positions to running back and middle linebacker. And I was able to do pretty well and get myself out of that. I didn't have clearinghouse, so that means that I had to go to junior college first. But so I couldn't turn down. I had to turn down my first scholarship offer to Oregon because of that. I went to JUCO here in Sacramento City College, #1 JUCO in the nation at that time. So it was a great option. And from there, ended up playing 2 years there, starting 2 years there at Sac City, and then moving on to the University of Nevada at Reno.
That's awesome. And so,
thank you, brother.
Yeah, that's really cool. And, just obviously, your son being in the NFL, and, we talk all the time about, you are a coach, You are a coach. You see the
Correct.
game just differently than most other people see it. You're not a casual fan by any stretch. I've talked to you
Not at
for
all.
5 minutes and I knew you weren't a casual fan.
Not at all.
But, you know,
Details.
yeah. But did those details, come over time, or did you just pick up on things really quickly from like the high school level?
Well, I think that one of the things that people have always been enamored with is DNA in all of us, whether it's our size, or if we sing like someone in our family, or if we talk like someone. DNA seems to be one of those things that people are enamored with. And for me, I just have a bunch of bright people in my family. My mom was nurse, surgical nurse, graduated early, went to college early at UOP in Stockton. And just for everyone in my family, just kind of bright. I think that even though people talked about my physical size, I don't think that what went into that is also the ability to know everyone's position around me, to take on all the technical things that I learned, because I played football late, just like Ahkello. I didn't play football until later on in life, but I was able to retain the knowledge, retain the skill set that I was taught. And there was a coach by the name of Coach Robinson, Lester Robinson, and he said, man, I'll use his voice, but he said, well, you got a man's body now, so I'm going to have to coach you like a man. And Coach Lester Robinson, man, he started teaching me how to run like a Jamaican, and how to use everything in my body, and it just turned into to good stuff for me. And since then, I've always preached details, no matter what I'm doing, whether it be when I was in finance, or whether it's music, or whether it's coaching. I've always preached details. Now, a lot of people don't know Ahkello was the smallest athlete in Sacramento. I mean, I think he was 97 pounds as a freshman in high school, 5 feet tall, 4'11". So he wasn't going to play sports, but he was in the car with me while I was coaching baseball, basketball, football. He was in the car with me. So he got a lot of those details, a lot of that knowledge. And when he did decide to grow, somewhere between 11th and 12th grade, somewhere to 2 to 10 inches, all that kicked in along with the other DNA. No, and then of course the IQ. We all know that he has that. He's smarter than all of us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude's a genius.
Yes, sir. Yes,
so as far as from your musical background, obviously, your father being who he is, I'm assuming that had something to do with it, or did you just pick up on it?
Well, it's not just my dad. My mother was a gospel artist. Her sister, gospel artist. Billy Preston is an uncle, and just music was everywhere. It was in church, and we just picked up on it from all angles. Of course, my father's Jimmy Witherspoon. I mean, he had over 300 albums, blues and jazz. Iconic blues and jazz person. More of a great dad for me, but yes, I did see him every day. I saw him perform, and he's an inspiration for sure. But I would just say it's just been around me. So the DNA, the epi-DNA, some of my best friends, of course, it's just been around. It's just been a part of us, and I think it's all throughout my family.
I love it. And what would you say? I mean, I know you mentioned jazz and blues, but what would you say is your favorite genre? Would you say it's jazz?
My favorite genre is music, man. I just like everything. I write everything. I write rock, blues, jazz, gospel, R&B. It's just infused in me. Classical. It just doesn't matter, man. I can listen to any world music. It just rhythm and melody, just seem to work. And then the fact that lyrics somehow came in from being a rapper early on, from being a poet early on, lyrics seem to be easy for me to match to melody.
No, I love that. And I guess, obviously, I mean, that was the best answer I ever heard. Hey, what genre do you like? Music.
Music.
That's great.
It's true,
do you have a certain decade of music that you would prefer, like 70s, 80s, 90s, or you're just like music?
No, sir. I like them all. I mean, I can go from Kurt Cobain, early Kurt Cobain, when I was in college, I would see bands like his come through at Nevada. All the guys are, at school smoking weed and partying. And man, I'm going out to see live bands, man. So It doesn't matter, man. Whatever era comes on my Spotify, man, I'm in there.
Hey, I'm all for it. I mean, I
Yeah,
come from a rock family. I mean, you know my dad, and he's a big musician, and we always had like rock going on, classic rock, whatever. I now
yeah,
listen to more metal, which is not my dad's cup of tea. But I totally
yeah.
get you. It's like sometimes, I just want to listen to, I don't know, pop. I'll even throw on like Kendrick or something. Like, yeah, I think, having that kind of versatile, I guess, ear, you can appreciate
Hmm.
things a little bit more,
Yeah.
instead
I
of
heard you
being
even
so.
listen to some. I heard you even listen to some Lucky Witherspoon every now and
I have,
then.
I have,
Take me.
take me. I mean, you guys heard it coming into the show. I mean, I love that song. I
Thank you,
I
brother.
love the whole record. I think you did such a great job. I mean, we can talk on that right now.
Yeah.
You got a great producer, obviously.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and just talk to me about how this record came to be and what kind of inspired you to create this, because it's so easy to listen to, but it's not just easy like, oh yeah, like you don't even just turn your brain off. It's actually like really thought provoking as well. So,
Hmm.
yeah, tell me about your record.
Well, I would just start by saying, the production on there with Derek DOA Allen. I mean, he's one of the greatest, and then Joe Archie, Ivan Johnson. It's a collective that we have of guys out here that are just really good at what they do. There's more. There's more. Jay King. There's you know El Nicole. There's Sean Rayford. There's so many people in our group, man, that are just really good at what they do. So that sets the standard pretty high. But it's also easy, man. It's so easy. He sends a record. I write it. Go on to record it. We had a real good friend of ours named Brian Porter, rest in peace. He engineers and teaches us how to make everything sound good. You know what I mean? So it's really been easy to do. Number one is having the best music that I can find from DOA for sure, and the other guys. But just putting lyrics and melody together, man, and being held to a real high standard made the project really simple to do. I will say this though, I thought that since it's early on in my career, that it couldn't be good, right? So I just kept writing, and everyone says, "Hey, man, look, you got to put something out." So they encouraged me to put one or two singles out. Next thing you know, there was 13 or 14, and then I went back to DOA and I said, "Look, man, by the way, I have this collective of music, between you and I." And he was like, "Whoa!" And he looked at it like, "Man, you got to be kidding me, man!" And he starts playing it. I come back another time to the studio and he was still playing it, you know. And then the third time we just decided, I said, "Man, come on, man, pick an album out and I'm gonna put it out." And then he said, "Man, look, we got so much music. Let's just do a series of three." So the first one that came out a few months ago is called My Story Volume One. And then later this month, we'll have My Story Volume Two. And then sometime in the spring, we'll have My Story Volume Three. And man, it's just a nice collection of work, brother. So it'll be
That's
30 songs.
awesome.
Yeah.
No, it's great. You did something for Christmas as well.
Yeah, yeah.
We
Christmas
were
time.
playing that in the house. So
Okay, all right.
yeah, I mean you
Yeah,
knew that, but
yeah. Got a Christmas record out as well. Yeah.
absolutely. And
Mhm.
so where can people go to check out, this great music? Because this obviously it can't be selfish. We gotta share this, man. We
All right.
gotta let everybody
It's
know about it.
it's easy, man. The internet makes it easy. My name, Lucky Witherspoon. You can find it on any platform, any music platform. It can be, Amazon Music, Apple Music, YouTube, Pandora, Spotify. I mean, we made it really easy for you. We made it available everywhere, And so if you find me on Spotify or Pandora, go ahead and add me. That helps. But you can find the music anywhere, man. Just go look at Lucky Witherspoon, and you can find it, man.
That's awesome. I will be posting
Yeah.
links, of course, in the description for that. I want people to check out your stuff. It's really good. Even for like a
Cool.
metalhead like me, I really enjoy it. Uh,
That's cool, man. That's
I mean,
cool.
it is because like it's so spot on to what you're saying. Like, man, I just like
Yeah.
music.
Yeah,
And
I
so,
do. And I
yeah,
do. And also, I think that soul music has never gone away. So I don't think that
no,
mine is a different version of soul, but my pen seems to write for the soul. It's something that feels good, man. And I just think that that's one of the things that I've been able to bring that is very unique. every lyric along with the melody just seems to feel really good, man. And that's what I say. I say it's for the soul. Of course, soul music hasn't gone anywhere, but it's also for the soul. It's good stuff, man.
You got that I don't know, you got that vocal tone. It's like it's powerful, but it's like relaxing. Like how do you even do that? You know, it's like I mean, I could tell you I don't have a lick of that. All I could do is a fry scream. Like if I needed to fill in for some screamo band, I could probably do a fry scream. I'd lose my voice by the end of the show. But I could probably do that. I can't sing. I know I came from a musical background with my dad, but I didn't get a musical bone in my body. I got all the sports stuff. So tell me, how are you able to capture such a powerful vocal tone while also being relaxing and inviting and I don't know, like it just feels so like there's a vibe there.
I think there's a combination. You know, my dad being a tenor, my mom being a soprano. You know, I was able to pick up on both, and so I can do all my own backs. I can, you know, pretty much hit any note. So all my backgrounds that you hear on my album, they're me as well. There's no extra vocalist, and then my father was world famous for singing behind the beat, just a little bit. If you listen to my music, it's just a little bit behind the beat, and I think that that's what gives you that smooth vibe that seem to resonate with people. The tone, I believe it's a combination of both of them. Didn't know until I started singing that I might hear something like that. I never thought of myself as having a tone, but I think it just comes from a combination of my mom and my dad. You know, the high notes that she sings, the low notes that he sings. I'm right in the middle, and then I just lay back on the beat, man, and try to make it make sense.
Absolutely. What inspires you, you know, as a songwriter? Like what inspires you to make, because I mean, love my dad to death, but he'd be the first one to tell you he doesn't write songs very well. He can't write songs. You know, does a lot of cover stuff. So I mean, what allows you to create something so beautiful that doesn't exist prior to that?
It's interesting because at the end of the day, I mean, I can remember my first rhyme when I was 13. I still can recite it, you know. And I think at the end of the day, I've always been, you know, a wordsmith, poet, rapper, whatever you want to call it. You know, I've always been good with words, and I think that's the beginning of it. The rest of it comes from nowhere. Nine times out of 10, it comes from no thoughts at all. My fingers start moving, my brain starts moving. I don't sit down and say, I'm going to write about the sun today, or I'm going to write about love today, or I'm going to write about, you know, somebody getting shot in the head. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When I was rapping, it's just something that was in my life. And somehow my fingers started moving and it just came out like that. It's still that way now. Every song that I write doesn't start with a subject. It starts with that melody and a word that pops out of my mouth, that pops out of my head. Once it starts going, everything just connects, and the experience of being able to write fills in the blanks. But it's almost like my mind is not working. It's very interesting. A lot of times people will say, "Well, man, you had to be going through something when you wrote that," or "Man, how did you write about this?" You know, I mean, you know, DOA used to tell me, "Quit writing about that woman." You know, he said, "When are you going to change the subject?" And I said, "Man, I promise you, wherever that song came from, there's 30 more, you know, that aren't about her." But no, I just kind of write freely, man. I don't have a real answer for you there. Whatever pops out of this brain and into my fingers, man, is what and I've done it all my life. I've done it at work, you know, I've done it in the streets. People used to here's an old story. When I would go to clubs, my friends would always gather around my Volkswagen, and they would have me rap, and they would all just, you know, before we go in, grab a 40 ounce of beer, everybody, and they would just turn on the music, and I would stand around and entertain the crowd before we went into the club. Well, there's one time this guy from Vallejo, he came through and he said, "Hey man," he said, "Look, it's this new rapper, man. He's rapping with this group called Digital Underground. He's trying to sound like you." And he puts in the cassette. It was Tupac on the Digital Underground, you know. And I go, "Man, that dude doesn't sound like me, man. I'll kill him," you know. So I would rap right over the top of the early Tupac tapes.
Oh
And
man.
come to find out, you know, he does have a similar tone, for sure. And but more importantly, he's got poet's pen. And so all the stuff that I fought off years ago, to me, it's a compliment now. It's just, hey man, maybe poets are they just do what they do.
You know what I think it is? I think because I think I experience this when I'm doing, content creation from the perspective, because I think we've talked about this before. Like when I'm doing a video on, say, your son or, whoever, I don't have to have notes. I can have notes. I definitely don't have a script. I can tell you that much. There are people that script their videos, and by all means, whatever works for you. But
right.
I feel like I've had these conversations so much with you, with some of my friends, and definitely my father, that it just comes easy to me because I've already almost had this repetition where I'm talking about something and I'm doing it so much that I'm actually learning it. I'm knowing it. And then I can rattle off that, he had 3 PBUs against the 49ers. And it's like, why do you know that? It's like, well, I know a lot more than that. I know quarterback passer rating. Like, why?
Right.
It's because I talk about it a lot. And I think with you, your experiences every day, because we've been on the phone and people come up to you and say hi and everything. I just feel like every day those experiences kind of rub off on you. And maybe even if it's subconsciously, like you're like, you know what, I should write about that. But you're not actually saying that or like thinking about it. It's just all happening here without you even realizing it.
It's the mind taking notes. I mean, I go to a game and then I call you or get a text from you and we're rattling off the same numbers. I don't know whether you got them offline or where you got them from. I know I just saw the game, but we're rattling off numbers. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of times when we're talking, we're not talking in motion. We're just rattling off numbers. And so the ability to process it and to hold on to it, it's the same thing that I'm probably doing in real life with music. I'm just picking up information, storing it, and then it's coming out later on in song. But the same way when I'm at a game, I'm just picking up data. And it's the ability to receive it, to be able to identify it, and to not attach emotion to it. The emotion to me it just blocks intellect. And so I'd rather not take the emotion that I learned from something that I receive, whether it be on a song or whether it be watching a football game or baseball game. And so if I take the emotion away and make sure that I write the song, then I can put the proper emotion in it when I go to the studio, right? I can put the proper emotion in it when I can call you and say, well, fuck that. I didn't like that. That was a blown coverage, but you got to pay attention first so you don't, you won't see the defense.
Oh man. I mean, you could write after like the Yankees blew a save and you'd have an idea of something to be like, oh yeah, this song comes from a little bit more anger than maybe I would want or something.
Right.
Exactly. But man, the conversation there, I mean, that could go on forever with baseball and everything. I do want to hear your stories and stuff, which we'll get to, but you gig, you go out, you play shows. And, I watched my father do that my whole childhood just about. And I have never done a live podcast. So I know this is shocking because I can have tons of people watching me live and I could stare at a camera. That doesn't get me nervous. But when I'm in front of people, like a lot of people, man, I get nervous. You see like the face gets red and everything. What is it like, performing something you created out of thin air that didn't exist, that people enjoy? And now, essentially, you have all this pressure on you to kind of match what they heard on that record live. What is that like?
It's fun. It's so fun. I'm telling you, man, there's, I played for a legendary head coach at the University of Nevada by the name of Chris Alt. And I created the pistol, which they said would never work in the NFL, and that's all we see now. Well, that's Chris Alt, and he came up to me one day. In college, I was 6'2", 235 pounds, 4'9", 40, 45-inch vertical. I mean, playing football wasn't that difficult with those kind of measurements. Being able to collect the data in detail, that wasn't tough. But he came up to me one day and he said, you know what, son? He said, effort is a skill. And effort is a skill that a lot of people with your talent, they don't have that. He said, of all the skill sets that you have, I want you to make sure make sure that you hold on to that one because effort will take you a long way in life. And that's the one thing that I'll say in my life that makes the work easy is I work so hard, man. I work so hard. I'm just all this energy you see, it's every day, all day. It's no matter what I'm doing, whether I'm helping someone, whether I'm coaching, whether I'm cleaning, whether I'm writing a song, whether I'm getting into a little fisticuffs, whatever it is.
Oh,
It's, they'll get every bit of me.
that's
That's old
great.
school, Lucky. But that's Luck Bo. That's not Lucky. That's Luck Bo. We don't like that guy too much anymore. But no, the truth is, man, it's just effort, man. So by the time I go on stage, I've put so much effort in it. I've watched DOA and all the members of the band. I mean, they're busting their butts. And by the time I get on stage, man, it's just so much fun. It really is. And that's the part to me that it's like payback. I just get to get up there and just tear the mic up for them. It's
No,
pretty cool.
that's awesome, man. No, that is
Yeah.
really cool. And I guess like take me in the life of Lucky Witherspoon. What is like your just an average day for you?
Average day for me now is man, I'm a dad and a grandfather, man. It's pretty cool. Whatever the kids say do, I do it. I'm retired now and working on music every day. And if anyone needs some help, like if anyone needs production or lyrics, of course I'm there. The answer for me, if anyone asks me to do anything, it's like a standard for me. The answer is yes. I'm going to try to get it done. So I'm busy at all times, but it just depends on what you would call busy. My son calls, it's yes. My daughter calls if it's her tire. My granddaughter has a basketball game. If my mother calls, yes. If it's a friend, if it's an enemy, I just show up. So every day I get up, I'm thankful. I hit the gym, a little bit, and I try to figure out what I can do to make the world a better place
Man, I
every single
mean,
day.
that's the vibe I got just being around you, like in person and just talking with
Mhm.
you and getting to know you. It just that's how it comes off. So
Yeah.
that's really cool, man. And just helping people. I mean, that's also a big thing.
hmm
And I've talked to people that have like, oh, you did you meet Kello's dad? He's so nice. He's one of the nicest people I've ever met. And I was like, yeah, like that's literally how I felt too. I
Thanks,
mean,
man.
the jersey behind me is from
Yeah,
Lucky.
I
So
try to do something every week at a game. If I get someone backstage to meet a player, or just give them some details, information about life. I mean, one of my number one go tos when I see a father and son at a game, I'll talk to that little kid, and my line is this. It's this simple. It says, "Is that guy your dad?" And they'll say, "Yeah." And I go, "Look, man. Here's what I want you to do. You want to be successful?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "What do you want to be?" "Oh, I want to be a football player." I said, "Okay, perfect. It's going to work." I said, "All you got to do is one thing you got to do." And then he'll say, "What's that?" And I said, "Whatever that guy says, do. Whatever he tells you to do something, I don't want you to do it once. I want you to do it twice." You know what I mean? So whatever dad says, do, get it done. And I think that it's a missing component in the world. I think moms always show up, and I think dads sometimes show up. And I think that's been my goal in life is to show up, man, and to make a difference in not only my kids' lives, but in all the young people around me. For sure, man. That's what you see at the games. I'm always trying to get. I'm usually not trying to get an adult backstage, but they come with they come with those pesky kids. So I'll bring anybody back who I can, man, so they can just have the experience. And where that really comes from is there was a basketball player for the Sacramento Kings by the name of Mike Bibby, and everyone knows him as that gunslinger, that killer. You know what I mean? You know what I saw him do, bro? I saw him work, bust his tail. He would take my son and his son Mike and Eddie House and his kids. He would take their kids into the gym and he would just show them, man, how to work, how to really just bust their tails. But then at the end of the day, he also, was just a dad, and wanted to make sure that these guys knew that being a professional or being successful was normal. It's just normal. And my kids grew up with that, knowing that being great is normal.
No, that's great. And I hear you. I mean, I think, I've heard all the sayings like, work hard and, working hard with no talent versus somebody that has all the talent, doesn't work hard. You can equal that and all that. But, I think it is really important to work hard and it's not just one of those like, yeah, it's a saying. It's like, all right, but like show it every day because even when it's a rainy day on a Tuesday and you don't feel like doing anything and whatever, and you just find a way to get something productive done. Well, you probably did more that day than most people did that day. And so,
gotta go hard. Go hard. You gotta bust your tail every single day. And I think that's the one thing that I've, put into my children. I think that people see Kello as being so quiet. They see him as such a quiet. My daughter's loud like me, a little aggressive. She's, Alexis is just like her dad. But my son, I wanted a better version. So I told him, keep your mouth shut. I'll do the talking for you. And maybe I hurt him a little bit being in this, this brutal game called the NFL, because people don't know how to view him. He's so quiet, the little quiet assassin. What they don't know is this voice that you hear from me, all this stuff, it's all inside of him. He is insane. This guy he's evil. He's evil. Nobody knows, man. It's like everybody thinks he's pretty and nice. No, this dude is an assassin. I just taught him not to talk, man. He is crazy. I've never seen anyone work harder in my life. I've never seen anyone care more about a sport that he didn't even play. Let's tell the truth. My son didn't play football, soccer, baseball, basketball, yes. Blue Jays prospect, yes. But not a football player. But man, why do you want to play football? He said, because it's hard. It's the one sport I don't know. And man, to this day, he just loves the game. He loves showing up. He loves competing. He just doesn't think that being loud about it is as good as being prepared.
Well, I don't know if he'd be as good if he didn't have you in his corner. So I do think you deserve credit for that. And yeah, I mean, I can understand why, it's like, oh yeah, probably shouldn't have told him to be quiet, but I think it just makes him his own person in a game that,
that's true.
I mean, I think the world in general, should, I guess, feel better about this whole individualism, because I feel like there's this kind of uniformity, and I think people get kind of mixed up between unity and uniformity. Like, we don't all have to look the same.
Right.
It's why I will always speak against, you see the pinstripes in the background, I'll always speak against their grooming policy. I think the Yankees grooming policy is insane because it basically scraps away just this idea of individualism. Everyone has to have short hair. Everyone has to have no beard. You can only have a mustache that's been outdated for 30 years. I mean, Andrew McCutchen went to the Yankees, and the big thing about Andrew McCutchen is he was the guy. He was like the first guy in baseball to have dreadlocks. And when he cut those, it's like, oh, he's just a Yankee. He's not Andrew McCutchen anymore. And so I always use that example because I feel like, we need to embrace individualism more. It's why, you see it with hairstyles, you see it with looks and, fits, you see it just all over the place. And, I think that's a big thing. And, kind of going back to that, it's actually why I think it's so cool, with Kello, because I say it all the time. We talk about it all the time. Cornerbacks are divas, man. They're just as divas as wide receivers. Not every single corner and not every single wide receiver, but Ahkello Witherspoon is far from that. I mean, I don't know. You probably saw the video that the Rams posted after the game. He said, "I got no speech."
No, like, you know what that means. It leaves it for us to interpret.
Yeah.
And to me, it means that, man, the season's not over yet. It just started.
Yeah, but it
just started. We got work to do.
It also means, the way I also interpreted it was like, we won this game. I didn't win this game. Correct. And I think that's where he wanted to kind of refocus that, because he's like, he hasn't gotten a fair shake. I mean, if we're being honest, in the NFL, he hasn't. But he still, stayed hungry, humble, and didn't change, despite the fact that, we saw the numbers. The NFL said that was the analytics concern is the most impactful defensive play of the entire season. So
yeah, this from a guy with no camps. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know that he's had camp in the last 4 or 5 years. This might be this next spring might be the first time he's in a building. Can you imagine what kind of season this guy, will have next season? I mean, he literally hasn't been in camps. I mean, he didn't go. He showed up in week 2 of the NFL season. The story is better than it presents itself, because what that means is, and I know this because I talk to him every day, but I've never seen him go one day without not working once, but working twice a day. He just works, man. That dude just keeps working, and to make himself prepared, and I'm glad he was. I really am.
No, that's awesome. And then again, that resonates from what you were telling the kids. You're telling, hey, do it not once but twice. Whatever he tells you to do it twice. And that's that's awesome. But what is it like? Yeah. I mean, just seeing him. Well, I guess I want to ask you this: how did you not end up in the NFL?
Huh.
I want to know.
Funny. That's funny. So let's just say that I pretty much dropped down to the University of Nevada. I only wanted to go to one school, that was UCLA, and I didn't know that the clearinghouse issue followed me to JUCO, and so I had to have my AA degree before I could leave. I only spoke to one team throughout my junior college career. That was UCLA. I went down to visit. That's the only school I was going to go to. I wanted to go back home. And then once the second semester of football was over, they found out that I was a clearinghouse kid. They didn't think so by talking to me every day, by seeing my grades. They thought I was, a person who could join them in the spring after my third semester of college. And I couldn't. I had to finish my degree. Had I known, then I could have doubled up some classes and got my AA in 3 semesters. Since I didn't, they fell off, and so did all of the other Pac-10 teams at the time that I was alienated. I wouldn't even talk to them. I only wanted to go to one school. So I dropped down to some other teams: Hawaii, Missouri, Cincinnati, Nevada. And Nevada had a really good program. They were putting out pros, and they're pretty close to home, so my mom could see me play. And they were, one of the top teams in 1AA. So I chose Nevada. And while I was there were some difficulties that maybe my son has faced that I didn't know how to face by myself. And one of them was being a big fish, right? I'm a big fish in this pond. And my head coach, he was a little hard, very, very hard. Everything he wanted me to do bigger, better than anybody there. And I don't think I understood it completely, and didn't like some of what felt like injustice in my mind. Some of the business part about it. We got to play this guy so we can recruit in this big old city called Las Vegas. I didn't understand it. Like, wait a minute, how did I get us all the way to the national championship game, and now I'm on special teams returning kicks? Some of the stuff that you don't understand. Well, you have another season, that's why. And they're not worried about you as a junior. They're worried about you as a senior. So those are the things that I could pass on to other kids, other people. And I essentially walked away from football after my second year at Nevada. From that, Charlie Mackey, Gil Brandt, those guys came and found me and asked me to try out for the Dallas Cowboys at that time. And I told them that I would show up, and I never did. And I just thought that if you're offering me this small check to show up, and you're just asking, I just dropped out of Nevada, not thinking about what I know now is you have talent, they'll come find you, they'll give you a small check, have you come to camp, beat somebody out, pay you less, and then sign you later. And just didn't have that kind of guidance. I didn't understand it all. So I never showed up to my tryout with the Cowboys, and because I have my 2 children, I don't have any regrets, because I probably wouldn't have had those 2.
Hey, I love it. I just posted something on Facebook actually about that, like not having regrets. Like, people ask me all the time, and do you have anything? I'm like, no, because if I had changed anything, then it disrupts anything I'm doing in the present.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. Yeah. I mean, and I think for your case, and that was not a dig at you, by the way. I really wanted to know.
No, And we're talking about a guy. We're talking about a guy, like I said, with the measurables, who
Yeah,
run, block, catch, never dropped a pass in a game, never jumped off sides in a game in my life, never had a fumble in a game in my life. Isn't that crazy?
that is
Never
crazy.
jumped off sides, never fumbled, and never dropped a pass as a fullback. And we catch balls out of the backfield back in that day.
Oh yeah.
So I had the measurables and the skill set to get it done, but didn't understand the business side of it and the other parts, the nuances that I was able to teach other people, and quite frankly, my children and my son.
Yeah, well, like you said, you wouldn't have had your kids if you did go to that tryout. So
No, I've been somewhere
it,
else for about 10 years.
that's so wild.
That's the way I look at it. Yeah.
There's just another alternate reality where there's a Lucky Witherspoon that is on the Dallas Cowboys, and
Yeah.
your kids don't exist, and it's
They
like,
don't exist at all. That one doesn't work for me. So
no,
I'm pretty happy.
that'd be a horror movie for you if you just woke up and
Right.
you're like, all right, you're on the Dallas. Like, no, 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 let's
No.
go back.
That's right. That's
Oh
right.
man. Well, that's really cool, and I think what's really cool about it is because while you said you didn't have the guidance, and that's obviously not cool, and it sucks. At the same time, you've been able to give Kello that guidance, and you've been able to learn from these, and it's not just Kello either. Like you talk to me all the time, like you're helping other guys out,
Yeah.
whether in college or not, because again, comes from what you were saying earlier, you just want to help people, and I think that's really cool because. It tells me, because we can all learn lessons, and like this is kind of how I've gone about like my content creation journey, is that if I learn something but I had to fail 5 times to learn it, why can't I pass off the information? Why do I have to let the other person fail 5 times to learn it?
Yeah, you
That's how
have
I
to
look
pass
at
it
it.
off. Yeah, same.
Because and that's how you did it essentially. And
Right.
so, I mean, who's to say, Ahkello would be in the NFL right now without your guidance? You know what I mean? And it's not a discredit to what he's done, but I think it goes to show you. I mean, first off, like having an upbringing is so key and critical to the development of somebody. You can always, anybody could get out of any situation. I firmly believe that. But like I was really fortunate to have the parents I have, and I do not take that for granted one day, because you hear these stories about this kid didn't have a father in the home, his mom was barely around, and it's like he's not able to reach maybe the potential that he should have been able to reach. And so, you don't take that for granted for a second, but I think it's really cool because you're at every single game of your sons, and that's
right.
wild. Like I'll text you and you'll be like, yeah, on a flight, and you're like, what? Every single
it's
game.
Crazy. It's crazy, man. And I can take a little bit of credit for teaching him the games that he's played. Whether it be football, basketball, baseball. Not soccer, but I can take a little credit. But he's got so much around him, man. His mother, Bobby, and his sister, his idol. So many different people he wanted to be like. Josh Adams. I mean, these Roddy Tellez. There's so many people, man, who he saw play. And he wanted to be like these great people. He didn't know anything about football, so there's no corners that he wanted to be like. He just so because that wasn't a sport that he played. But he's been around some great people, quality people, coaches, teachers. So all of that is a part of him. And I think it's just so cool to see the results of all of those lessons. Now, when it comes to going to a game, you're right. And the NFL may not know this, man, but I've never missed a game in his life, man, not since he was a little kid. And that's every level: Pop Warner, baseball, soccer, basketball, science, whatever. I just show up all the way through JUCO, high school, Colorado, University of Colorado, freezing cold in Utah.
Oh man.
Cold as hell in the Steeler days. Whatever it takes, man. If he was in street clothes, that's something for another show. But if he's in street clothes, I still show up. COVID, show up and wave to him at the buses, in New York, whatever, man. I've just never missed a game, man. It's something that he and I have talked about when he went away to college, and he told me he would like for me to keep that up, and that's what I do. I show up.
It's awesome, man. That streak, that is a crazy streak. And we're
It's a
talking
crazy
a
streak.
lot of miles. You definitely
Yeah.
know every airport at this point, right?
I know every airport. I know every stadium. Last year, on the way to Detroit, I said, "Hey, man, this is my 32nd stadium, son. Ahkello, this is my 32nd stadium." And he said, "I know, Dad. It's my 32nd stadium too." So I've been in every stadium, man, and it's been pretty cool, man. I have to say that's been one of the cool parts about it. It's just showing up, meeting people, almost missing flights,
No,
and just all the weather's bad weather, heat. It's just all been a good memory, man. But the most important part is the people. It's been fun to meet the people. And the other thing, man, is he says that when he sees my face, when he hear, I have a special whistle. I can whistle in a stadium, 70,000 people, and he'll hear me, and he'll either put up a heart or he'll say, "I got you," And he says it makes him feel like Superman. So I'll whistle this certain whistle, man, and he said it makes him feel like everybody, his whole family, is in the stands, no matter where he is, where we are. That his whole support system is there with him. So it's not just me. I'm bringing the whole crew with me.
that's awesome. And I guess, being 32 different stadiums, being all over the place, it must make it hard to find a kind of I guess a vacation destination. I mean, where do you vacation if you go everywhere every season,
Anywhere outside of the U.S.
Aha, there we go.
Costa Rica, Jamaica.
I don't blame you.
Virgin Islands, Paris, where it's and the other thing, man, is home is a vacation too. I got my little river boat, and I float out on my boat. That's a vacation.
Oh, that's
Cleaning
cool.
up is a vacation around the house. Heading out to his place in San Diego. That's a vacation. So they're easy to find, my man. Easy to find. All I need is the ocean. It's a beach. Catch a wave. Surf a little bit. Not as good as he is, but a little bit.
You surf?
I love this. Yeah, a little bit. I love the snorkel more than anything.
Ah, okay. So you do like the. Do you like winter
Whenever
sports
I have a
at all?
motorcycle, that's a little bit. Kello, he snowboards. I ski. I snow ski, but
I can't do it.
I do it. I'm more into the warm weather, man. Put me on two wheels, or some water, and I'm good. I love my motorcycles. I'm known for that. I ride Harleys and even tinker on them a little bit as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can never get into winter sports. I know I live in New York, and people are like, "Why do you live in New York?" I'm like, "My parents had me here." Why are you pointing the finger at me? I used to get teachers that would ask me that because I'd say I hate New York, and she's like, "Why do you live here?" I'm like, "I'm 14. You think I had a choice?"
Right.
I was laughed at that. Yeah, we got to get you into golf though. That's what we got to get you into.
Yeah, haven't been into that one yet. Not yet.
Not yet. We'll have to hit the golf course. I almost said links, but those are hard courses. I don't know if we would go there. But yeah, I mean, there's a golf course anywhere. You can go anywhere. But speaking of which, before we get into some stories, because you got plenty of stories. I know that you've been around some big names and pretty much most. I mean, we've talked like Sabathia and Reggie Jackson. You've been around some big names, but before we get into that, what are your favorite things to do that don't have any relation to your main things? Like, for instance, you're big on football, obviously, and you're big in music, and clearly you like traveling. So what do you do as hobbies that are away from anything profession wise?
Yeah, I think one of my favorite pastimes is to just turn on music and clean up my house. It's do my yard work. I'm known for it, not having anything out of place. But I love to do yard work, man, and clean up, man. Those are my favorite. Like I said, I told you before, riding my motorcycle. I would ride my motorcycle from Sacramento to Los Angeles just to feed my grandmother some fried fish.
Wow.
Just on a Friday, leave at 12 noon, be there in about 5 hours, go take her some fish, man, go see my dad, and then come home Sunday morning and get ready to get my kids ready for school for the next week. So my motorcycle, cleaning up, those are things that are passions of mine. Besides water, floating on my boat, those are probably the things that I like doing the most.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone say they like to clean. So
I
you are
love
a
it.
first there.
I love it. I got that from my dad. I love it. And my
That
mom,
is
they're both clean, neat freaks.
that's cool. I mean, I respect that. I definitely
Yeah.
became I'm more interested, I guess, in cleaning when I moved out of
Hmm.
my folks' house. They probably don't love
Yeah.
hearing that, but it's just like, well, now it's like my mess and I, have to live in it all the time and now I'm paying rent for it. It's like,
Jay,
okay.
you can't invite a female to your dirty house, Jay. You
No, no, of course not.
gotta get used to tidying up so that you can entertain. You're a handsome bachelor now.
Hey, it's true though. There's something now that just dirtiness and all that. It's just it's
It doesn't work.
no,
It doesn't
no.
work.
It's kind
No.
of
And
disgusting.
it feels good, man. Turn some music on and do some cleaning. It just, I don't know, man. It feels good. Clears my mind.
You've never had a mental blockage, we'll say, looking at something that's clean.
Not at
The
all.
other way, the other thing could be said, but
Not at
yeah,
all.
there's
Yeah.
no way. So
Nah.
I do want to ask you now because I
Hmm.
want to get some good stories from you because
All
you've been
right.
around a lot of cool people. So give
Let's
it to
go.
me
Let's
straight.
go.
Let's give you all right. Give me 5 of your best stories that you can tell.
Let's see. One time I was at the BRE Awards when I was younger. I was probably, you know, quote, a rapper at the time. But I was at the BRE Awards, and one of my friends, Charles Love, he said, "Hey man, when we go out here to this event, you gotta act like you're famous. You gotta act like you're big." And there was an R&B group called Guy, and their lead singer saw me like, "Hey man, you're big, man. Hang out with me, man. Make sure I'm safe, man. I'm gonna have you be security, you know." And so I'm hanging out with him, and his name is Aaron Hall. He was playing the piano. He was playing the piano in the hallway. So the party's inside, but these guys are celebs, right? So he's in the hallway playing the piano. Up comes Gerald Levert, and they think I'm security now, but I start singing and I start writing to the music that he's freestyle playing, and everybody goes crazy. Gerald Levert goes crazy. Now I'm singing with Aaron Hall, Gerald Levert, and myself in the hallway at the BRE Awards. Okay, I thought that was a big deal. The next thing you know, Aaron Hall says, "No, man, you're staying with us, man. We didn't know you, and you could sing, and you wait. We got a security guard who can sing, you know." And so now I go on stage. There's Salt and Pepper. There's LL Cool J. There's Biz Marquee, and I'm on stage and I'm looking out into the audience, thousands of people. And my buddy who told me to act big said, "Oh my God, there's Lucky on stage." That's number one. That's my first one. I thought that was cool.
That's awesome.
Um, let's see. Cece Sabathia's story. Let's start real young. Man, we were at the University of Nevada, myself and one of his mentors, my best friend, Demetrius. We call him Mimi Davis from Vallejo. Man, Mimi would take that kid onto the field. Coach Alt, pretty strict, doesn't matter. He would take him onto the field in the locker room, whatever it took, man. He would take that kid on the field with us to do just like Mike Bibby did to my son. Make sure he knew that being big was okay, being special was okay. And he did a pretty good job because by the time that guy was 18, he had scholarship offers in baseball, football, and basketball, D1. And as you know, he's become a Hall of Fame pitcher for the Yankees, and so that's my CC Sabathia story. I just saw him a few weeks ago, albeit at a funeral.
Mhm.
So I'm still very proud of him and Amber, his wife. They're just like family to me, and his story is pretty good, man. It's a really cool to see what he's come from, losing his father, but still having these beautiful women in his life. His mother, Margie, is my athletic mentor. A lot of people don't know that, but she has been the person to guide me through my son's success through junior college, and the pro level. Margie is the person who has been in my ear. So Margie, her sister Gloria, is like a mother to me. Mimi's mom, rest in peace, Big Mimi. And so my Vallejo connection is there through CC. That's number two. Um, let's see. Let's see. Oh, I got a good one for you. I left school one day in '87 to go to the Grammys, and I go with my dad. My dad hates those kind of events, but he's nominated for a Grammy, and he just wants to drop me off with the limo driver, but he wants to walk me in so that I can, you know, so I don't feel uncomfortable in this Hollywood environment that he's, of course, shown me my whole life, right? So he walks me in. He walks me in, and we come in, and there's an older cat, and they're talking trash to each other. And the guy looks at me and he says, "Oh, is that your seed, motherfucker?" And my dad said, "That's my son. It's my son. Why you talk to me like that?" And then he looked over to me and he said, "Man, your daddy used to be a pretty motherfucker like you." He said, "But look at his ugly ass now. Look at him. He ugly." And they were going crazy. They were laughing. They were bagging on each other. I'm like, who is this old man? You know what I mean? I don't even know who he is, but it's my dad. It's one of his friends. I figure it's one of his music buddies. No problem. My dad leaves. The Grammys start. Midway through the Grammys, there's some guy playing a saxophone with his back towards the audience. That old guy who was so funny, man, for 30 minutes making me laugh, tears coming out my eyes, was Miles freaking Davis.
Oh my
so,
God.
so I met Miles Davis at the Grammys, and he told me my dad used to be pretty. And I thought
That
that
is
was pretty
funny.
cool. Yeah, we always heard he was prickly. All I know is he had a great personality and he was funny as hell. So that's number three. Let's go. Number four. Who's number four? I already told you. Oh, I know. I know one. I'll tell you a sticky one. One time I was in a situation and Eddie House was right there to handle the situation with your boy. Thank you, Eddie House. I love you, bro. I love you. So that one I can't tell too many details of, but let's just say Eddie House is bout it. And I'll never forget that. The other thing that Eddie did that was really cool, the first time my son traveled to Arizona to play against Arizona State, he came to the hotel and he goes, "Man, I want to show your son that we're willing to do the same thing he did when you brought him to our hotels when I was in the NBA. I want him to know that we're going to support him the same way." And he showed up. He showed up to Ahkello, took pictures with him, and waited in the lobby the way we waited for those guys, and took me to dinner. And the rest is history. And he's still supportive, and he's got three sons who could play at the NBA level as well, by the way. So look out for all three of them.
That's awesome.
Jalen House is up first, and he's got two twins they will both be D1 as well.
Yeah.
And number four, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jalen House. That sounds really familiar. Yeah, I'll keep an eye
Yeah,
on
yeah,
him.
he's real nice. He got into the Celtics camp. I don't know where he is now. I know he's in the G League, but he's a dog. He's a real good player. He'll probably be up by next year. And then, like I said, he's got two young kids who are still in high school. They're really good, so you'll hear a lot about them as well. And
That's
then
cool.
number five, the fifth one. Let's see, what's number five? Number five would be man, years ago on stage, with the legendary rap group called the Booyah Tribe, doing some vocals for them, and did a little East Coast tour with the Loonies, E40, Booyah Tribe. That was pretty cool, and I thought that was nice. That gave me an early taste of what it was like to be on stage. Albeit I was rapping at the time, it let me know that I can belong here if I want to. And I came back from that uh, West Coast tour, and my son was 4 years old at the time, and I left on maybe a Wednesday, Thursday. It was about a 5-day tour, and when I got back, my son had gotten a trophy, his first place trophy. 4 years old, T-ball world championship. And I got back on a Sunday. Last stop was Stockton, California, and his mom was kind of bent out of shape. That I wasn't there to see him receive his World Series T-ball championship. His big old hair coming out of his little hat. He balled out. I was there for the game. I was there the week before when they won the game, but I wasn't there on the trophy presentation. And when I got back, I had a rap album where I rapped on every record and sung on every record. Hadn't been done yet. Rapped on every record, sung the hook. If it sounded like D'Angelo, that's me. Rapping. If it sounded like Goody Mob, that's me. If it sounded whatever I could hear, I would do the hooks. And when I got back, I got a call. And Atlantic Records had my rap album on their desk. They'd been doing some things, showcasing me, taking me to some places to see how I would perform in front of other people, things like that. And this was the last step, was me signing on the dotted line. And they wanted to know who was the vocalist on my album, that they might want to sign the vocalist as well. And the A&R said, no, that's Luck Bo. And they go, no, who was the person singing, not the person rapping? Who was the person, because I looked the part, braids, muscles, gangster. I looked the part. They knew about the rap guy. And they go, no, that's Lucky. That's Luck Bo. That's him. He's singing and rapping. And they asked me to do one or the other. They said rap might change, but we don't know how we can promote him as a rapper / singer. So they asked me would I choose to do one or the other, either rap or sing. And right then and there, after coming off of that tour, perfect timing, I said, you know what? I'm going to be successful in music, but I'm not going to be there to raise my kids. And I turned down another profession, and I decided to become a dad. And that one I did on purpose and by choice, and I've been a dad ever since. And just started back on music like 5 years ago.
That's awesome. There was definitely some sacrifice there, and I think that
Absolutely.
That is huge. I mean, life is all about the choices that you make, and I mean, man, that's really cool. It says a lot about you.
Yeah.
It says a lot about you. A lot of people would just be like, I'll take the fame, I'll take the music, I'll take the NFL, right? Like, obviously, I know that was a little bit different, but you did it twice.
Did it twice, man. That one was by choice, and there's no better job that I've ever had than being a father. Not one.
No, that is awesome. I think that is, I can't relate because I'm not a father yet, but I definitely want to be one. And people like you, people like my father are the reason why. It just, you hear all the horror stories about the father.
Best.
Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm. Your dad's the best.
He really is.
You have no choice. Yeah.
It's
the best.
It's funny because, I went through the whole thing where, you have friends in high school and middle school and elementary school, and they come over and they'll say, wow, your dad is way cooler than my dad. I wish I had your dad. And I was like, and then it was just weird because I never had a friend who talked about his dad or her dad better than mine. And it was like, then I realized, I mean, I always knew, but I was like, oh, I'm biased. And then I started hearing it from my friends. I was like, no, I'm not biased at all. I'm just right.
No, your dad's, hey, for those of you that are listening to Jake, his dad is more cool than he is.
You're not wrong. You are not wrong at all.
He's a whole vibe, man. The way he he just makes everybody feel comfortable. Of course, he's very intelligent, but he's just easy to talk to. And that look in his eye, it gives two things. It gives love and don't play with me. That look in his eye gives both, man. It gives love and discipline.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
I've seen it go both ways. You would.
I'm sure you have. I'm familiar with that look.
Yeah, it's.
I got it from my dad, and I give it to my kids. I'm familiar with that look. It's love and discipline. You want to make sure you stay on the good side of both of those.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can't be walked all over, so you got to have at least something there. But yeah, now we got to get you guys to collab. Like, I don't know what that looks like, but
let's do it.
I know he mainly plays the drums now, but he could play anything. I mean, he's the jack of all trades. I mean,
Let's get it done. Let's get it done this spring, man.
So
I'm not coming to New York in the cold again. Let's do it this spring.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I would not recommend that. Although you will if they play in the cold next year potentially. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. But
I'll show up. Yeah.
But yeah, man, this has been awesome. Really, because I really wanted to start this off with a bang, but I feel like just having familiarity with the first person that I would interview on this show, I think would, set this show on the right path, and just our conversations and everything. I definitely think, you were definitely the move to go with. I will have my father on at some point, that will happen. But I really wanted to start it off with you. I thought you just had some great stories, just getting to know you. I guess we'll wrap it up with this, man. Tell everybody how on earth we became friends, because it didn't. We weren't like, we weren't enemies, man. But you did not know me, and I did not know you.
We were thinking the same thing. A lot of times people will they'll come up to me and say, "Man, how do you know Jake? How do you know Jake?" And I'll tell them, I don't. But the story is interesting. When Ahkello signed with the Rams, you evidently made a post on YouTube, and it started to circulate out here in Sacramento. And people would send me the link, and they go, "Man, I don't know who this guy is, but he sure likes Kello." And I go, "Man, whoever's talking about Kello doesn't know him." And so I never looked at the link. And then someone else would say, "Man, whoever this guy is, he's on the East Coast. Man, he's speaking about Kello like he knows what he's talking about." Like, man, I don't want to hear it, because nobody knows him, the way I do. And as he started out the season, right about game 4, I'm sure he was the best corner in football for the first half of that year, for sure. He probably ended up top 5 or 6 in my book. But I decided to open up the link, and that link was from the summer before last season. And I'm listening to this guy talk, and I'm saying, "Wait a minute, this guy must watch film, because he's not talking trash. He knows when it was a blown coverage. He knows when it wasn't his guy. He knows that this guy has been great on film." And when I saw and listened to how you were speaking, I decided to reach out to him, inbox him, tell him thank you, and move on. And he hasn't let me go since, everybody.
There's something there that you're forgetting.
Which part? Which part? Which part?
There was no, it's the funniest way to become friends with somebody, because I've gotten plenty of parents that I've reached out in the past. You accidentally called me on the Instagram app, the video call.
Yes.
It was in your pocket.
Yeah.
And I just answered it, because I was like, "Oh, I guess he really wants to talk." Right. So I answered it, and it was just in your pocket. So I was about to hang up, and then you're like, "Oh, hey."
Like, my bad, but since I got you,
yeah. And we talked for like an hour, and then after that, it became exchanging phone numbers and texting, and
but the real thing was that link, man. Just me listening to you, and I thought, man, and maybe it's a bit narcissistic, but it sounded like the way I speak sports. It just was numbers, it just math. It didn't matter about him being long. It didn't matter about him standing up. It didn't matter about him not doing this or not doing this. Every time with Kello, there's an asterisk. Why is there an asterisk when somebody's numbers are just pristine? Just celebrate the numbers. Nobody plays a clean game of cornerback. You just have to be good, and you have to win. And when you look at his career, he's been on the good side of winning and a good, clean football. Of course, he's got great players around him. The Niners, he had all those great families, not just players, but great families. Same with the Steelers. It was amazing. And then with the Rams, what can you say? Just the other day, my son said McVay is probably one of the most important men that he's ever met in his life. And he said that Sean McVay makes him want to coach because of the way he treats men. how well he treats them, but still gets the product done. He said Sean McVay might have encouraged him to someday coach. He just told me that about 3 days ago.
That
Isn't that
is
crazy?
wild.
It's just wild. And so when it comes down to it, it's people like him, it's people like yourself who just pay attention to the product, and let that be judging character.
It's so weird because before he even became a Ram, I actually had a video, and it's funny. I ended up clipping it for some reason. I don't know. People got a kick out of it. They thought it was funny. But when he was traded by the Seahawks, I was talking about something about the Rams that year, and I think that was 2022. And I could not for the life of me, no, it was 2021, could not for the life of me understand why Seattle, who I thought got an absolute steal, and PFF would have said he got an absolute steal because the grades and everything. He goes to Seattle. He's clearly the number one corner there. And then keep on, I had no inside information, did not know you guys at all. And I just know football, and I see him get traded to the Steelers, and I'm like, so the NFC West got worse. Like, that's how I looked at it. Like, because I was covering it from far.
It was bizarre to me. I mean, I got a lot of contact from Seattle press. They didn't understand it. I didn't understand it. Keller didn't understand it. But it's a business, and sometimes as I told him when he was younger, sometimes you have to go where you're wanted. And the Steelers wanted him, and it worked out fine in the end.
Yeah, he was great with the Steelers, and then they move on, and he goes to the Rams, and he's been great with the Rams. But
right,
that's the origin story that everybody was waiting an hour plus to hear. I mean, hey, I think it's a pretty funny origin story, and
that is incredible. I mean, both sides. Me, not looking at your takes for 2 months. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to hear it again.
I get it.
And then hitting you up on accident. Man, that was so crazy. You're right. I forgot about that part, man. That's pretty cool.
Hey, man, God's plan, right? I mean, like, oh yeah, just happen to open it up in your pocket. That I can confirm he wasn't just pulling one over. It opened up in his pocket. I answered it, and I was just like, and I could hear muffle, and I was like, all right, I'm probably going to hang up. And I waited about like 5-10 minutes, and then you noticed, and right as I was about to hang up, like, you're like, oh, hey.
Like, oh, my God, man, what? I called you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, man.
Yep. And you're like, now that I got you, actually, what do you think about this, this? And then I was like, oh, yeah, but what do you think about this, and this? And there you go. So, I mean, awesome stuff. And we've been up 3 times now.
Conversations. Yeah, man, it's been good, man. I'm so proud of you, man. You're good at what you do. Keep doing your thing, brother. And I look forward to watching your career soar, man. I know you want the same thing for the Rams. You want them to be good, and I know we all want you to be good as well, man. So I look forward to seeing you shine, brother.
I appreciate you, man. Well, hey. People like you are the reason why I wanted to do this, because I want to be able to talk to people. And it's, again, obviously you are connected to the game of football, and you're connected. Like, obviously I wouldn't know who you were without having that connection to the Rams. But I think it's important for me because I love talking to people and I love interviewing people. I think it's really important to get like their side of, their story, get to tell their story. And while I'm aware some people I'll have on here have already told it a billion times, I'm sharing that, though, with my audience, and it grows people. And so what I hope from this is that people see you and they're like, I want to check out that guy's music. He looks freaking awesome. Let's check out his music. Let's give Ahkello the benefit of the doubt. Maybe I was a little too, I want things like that to happen.
Yeah, and just like my music, Jake, though, my music and Ahkello, neither needs the benefit of the doubt. If you go listen to my music, it's just, I finally can say it out loud. It's just good music.
It is.
If you watch Ahkello play, he's just a good cornerback. Neither one of us really need the benefit of the doubt anymore. Just, it's enough's enough. You said so a couple weeks ago, it was like, why does it always come with something? It doesn't, it's nothing to talk about anymore. Just plays good football, and I just make good music. And hopefully people like it from that perspective, man. it's just hard work, man, and being thankful to be gifted with a bunch of talent. I think if you have that inside of you, nothing else speaks louder than talent, hard work, and humility, and that ought to say enough right there.
I love it. I came to kick ass and chew bubble gum.
Let's go.
It's that simple, right?
Let's go, man.
I don't know if you ever saw that scene with Roddy Piper in I forget the name of the movie, but it's so funny.
I've never watched a movie in my life.
It's that they live. I forget what it's called, and obviously, if people see the ending of this and they're commenting, I'm not gonna be surprised. Like, how do you not know who that is? Like, but he says essentially it's this movie about these these people, but they're like hidden aliens that look like people. And he's like, he walks into a bank and he's got like a shotgun, and he's like, I came to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum.
It's like, okay. I've heard pieces of that one before.
Yeah. I mean, he was a WWF wrestler, so I mean, you've probably heard of him before, but yeah, there was that scene, and I don't know why. I just like when I heard the vibes, and it wasn't the full thing I needed to say, but it was just like, to your point, I came to kick ass, chew bubble gum.
That's it.
I am good at music, and my son is good at playing cornerback. It's that simple, cut and dry.
There's nothing else to it, man.
No more backhanded compliments.
Nah, man, none of that. We're through with that. We just want to dumb it down and play football, brother. That's it.
Absolutely. Well, hey guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this interview with Lucky Witherspoon, who is my first ever guest of the lounge. Hopefully this thing goes for a long time, and I get to look back on this in 4 years and be like, wow, this is where it all started. And I think it is. I think this is going
Much
to
success, man.
I really believe this is going to blow up at some point. But guys,
much success to you, man.
I appreciate you. Guys, check out Lucky's new music, please. It's on all platforms. The link is going to be in the description below. If you are here and you've never seen his son play cornerback, look up Ahkello Witherspoon, interception, Rams Bengals on YouTube, and come back to me.
Wow.
There you go. Wow. Like if you've never seen football before, you might want to start watching football just after that play alone. But it's incredible.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. He does a one-handed kung fu flip out of it. I mean, the craziest thing is that play and the one against Arizona Cardinals 2 weeks ago. Neither one of them were on SportsCenter.
Oh my God! Well, are we shocked?
Come on! We got to put some defense on there, SportsCenter.
Oh my! Are we really shocked?
Plays I've ever seen, man. Yeah.
Oh man, where can my listeners and viewers find you on social media if they want to connect?
So Lucky Witherspoon at Lucky Witherspoon on IG. And Lucky Witherspoon on Facebook. I'm still a Facebooker, so you can find me there.
I see that.
If you do find me there, hey, let me know that you're a Jake listener, man. That'd be pretty cool. So I can blow his head up a little bit. All right.
All right. Well, we are gonna end this, but again, much appreciated to Lucky. Appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you guys next time.